So this beautiful young lady will tell you how she had the dream and how it's manifesting and where it's going. And that perhaps some of you might want to be a part of it, or it might spark you in what could we do somewhere, because we've been going to a lot of different centers, we've been doing a lot of benefits. It's been so wonderful. We've been going to a lot of places we didn't even know existing outside of Joburg, where a couple just had a dream because there were 700 people living in this community and they had nothing. And what can we do to help them? So it's just one person after another. But I'm finding there's such a success with you. And then I said she needs to now teach other people how to actually do something, because you need a lot of components. So I leave it to you. You talk.
Thank you. So firstly, just in case I forget to later, I'd like to start by thanking everybody for coming to support this evening's event, because as I'm sure most of you know, all the proceeds from this evening are very generously being donated to the Earthchild Project. So thank you all for being here. And where to start? Maybe I can tell you just briefly what we do for those who haven't heard of Earthchild Project before. We're a non-profit organization. This is our 5th year, and we aim to introduce more holistic and experiential education into schools. So we're primarily working with township schools in Khayelitsha and Lavender Hill, and our focus areas are to do with environmental education. So we do things like organic gardening and worm farming and hiking, and then healthy living, setting up healthy tuck shops and teaching children very basic knowledge about a healthier, more balanced lifestyle. And then a very big component of what we do is life skills, but slightly more alternative life skills. So things like yoga and meditation and the power of positive thinking. We teach kids about affirmations and vision boards. And we also run retreats for school teachers where we don't talk about kids the whole retreat. It's just about them, because we see that there's a lot of, there isn't any self-development work happening with school teachers, and there's a big need for them to have tools to manage their stress, and what's better than yoga to help them. And so, that's just a little bit about what we're doing at the moment. We're working in about 11 schools currently, and it's been quite a journey. And just to share a bit about how it started, in 2005, I was in South America and I was reading a book called Autobiography of a Yogi by Paramahamsa Yogananda. And there's a very brief part in that book where he describes a school that he started in India. I never heard of these kind of schools, although there are a few in the world where children learn things. Part of what they learn at school is yoga and meditation, and they have lessons outside under the tree, and it just sounded incredibly balanced and holistic. And it seemed like, when looking at the bigger picture of how many challenges and problems we are facing in the world today, it seemed like education and working with kids was a good place to start, and that introducing a more balanced and holistic approach to education would be a good way to start to offer children these tools. Because just like, a big part, we often say we teach kids the things that we wish we'd learned at school. And I suppose just like something like yoga, just the fact that everybody's here this evening means that in some way, I imagine yoga has made an impact on your lives. And just like children are more open to learning things like languages when they're younger, it's really amazing to see how open and receptive they are to learning breathwork, meditation, yoga. And so we came back from South America, and with a lot of support from a lot of people, and Knox and Lisa and the Art of Living Foundation and community, it just kind of happened that Earthchild started. And I think the amount of support was showed us what need there is for this kind of work to be happening in the communities. And we had no idea what we were doing in the beginning. We just
With the we were your girlfriend?
Lisa and Knox, and there were 3 to start off with, and currently we are 4. And yeah, we were young and had very big dreams, and were quite innocent and naive and thought that we could try and change the
How
world.
old were you then?
25.
And how did you get the funds to do it?
In the beginning, everything just seemed to happen. Didn't intend to start an NGO, just had this idea, and the next thing a friend came and said, Earthchild Clothing heard about your idea and they'd like to give you the first salary. And then I met Knox, and then we found that school, and so it felt like there was a lot of grace and support in the beginning and throughout. And yeah.
Did you ever worry and just say, how are we going to do it? This is too much. I have no money. Or did you just kind of have a trust inside of you that...
Both.
Both. Okay. She's honest.
There's a lot of both. And it's amazing to see what's happening now, because I think the way that it started, there's a lot of dreams and intentions that we set at the beginning are really starting to manifest now. And we can see that through being incredibly blessed to make connection and contact with teachers such as yourself, and earlier on this year, Sean Korn and another group of yoga teachers from America came, and we now have a yoga studio at the school in Kailicha.
And they help raise the funds. It's so beautiful. It's so clean, and wood floors. It's just, I mean, it's really one of those things you just put together. What are they called?
Yeah, it's a prefabricated.
But it's so, it has so much self-esteem inside that room, because I taught last year where they pushed all the chairs back, and it was kind of crazy, and maybe that was one reason that the children have one yoga center that they can go to, one building.
To thank Ilana and Anton for hosting this and for all of their help and support and introducing us to Gurmukh, because Ilana called me last year to say there's this really amazing teacher who's here, and she has 1 day off while she's in Cape Town. When we asked her what she wanted to do on her 1 day off, she said she'd like to do some service. And that's how we initially connected, because not sightseeing, not anything else, it was coming to Kailicha on a hot afternoon and teaching a group of children yoga. And I think that that's something that's been very inspiring to us, is your commitment to serve and to doing service. And I think that's one reason why we would like to invite any of you who feel inspired to come and visit or to get involved in some way, because it's a very beautiful expression of yoga to do service and seva. And just to share one thing quickly, last year, Gurmukh taught, during the lesson, she taught the children
the Kriya Satanama.
Satanama. And the kids loved doing it. And then months later, we've got a hiking club where our facilitator, Holly, takes a group of kids hiking once a month. And we often have volunteers that join. It's on a Saturday. And during the lunch break, she saw the children sitting with some of the volunteers, and the kids were teaching the volunteers how to do Satanam, doing it perfectly, and they were teaching the volunteers, and it was pretty amazing. It showed us how much they had received from your class and how much they love doing it. They do pranayama at break time because it makes them feel good, and there are a lot of kids. I mean, you mentioned the difference you've seen. There are kids at the school now who've been meditating and doing their own practice every day for almost 4 years, and it is quite tangible.
It's amazing. It's
when you interact with them.
Yeah. And it's stunning, their clarity. And when you have them meditate, you have to kind of go like this to get them out of it. They go, you say close your eyes, go to the light, and they are so there. It was, we have a real short story. We have a 5th grade. He was a math teacher at inner city of Los Angeles, and you don't want to think of Los Angeles as all fun and games. There's lots and lots of inner city work there. So he was teaching a very, very poor, and often in our poor schools, children are very angry too. more than I find here actually. And he started teaching them yoga every morning before the math. He only got like 5 minutes permission of the school. But the kids started changing so much, their grades were better, everything. Teachers started popping in, what this guy doing? Principals started popping in, what's he doing? And so we got an after-school yoga class and on and on. But when they would go on field trips, because they were near USC, which is University of Southern California, they were on a field trip. And because most of the kids are black, you know, they're real rappers. They have real rhythm, and so they would all go down the street, like 40 of them, Sa-ta-nama, sa-ta. They were just like this. They were rapping all the way, and whoever they saw, anyway, they're going, Sa-ta. And people were looking from bypasses and bridges, and all the way there, they were just cruising on Satanama, because the magic, as many of you know, is that it's an acupuncture point, and it balances the brain. And we've seen people. How do you say it here in South Africa? You say, off my head? He's off his head. I'm learning all these new little funny things, because we just say out of our minds, and say off your head. I've seen people off their heads just sit there. I've seen old people who are starting to lose it, do this, and it's like putting a needle in each finger and reconnecting the 4 regions of your brain. And so we taught it again today, and it's very easy. Anyone can do it, and the beauty of it, in 5 minutes, you get such a result of peace. I even say people in business meetings who are stressed out, sitting there, you know, put your hands under the table. Breathe it in and out. Inhale, exhale, satanama, satanama, and get to keep pressing those fingers before you blurt something stupid out or something angry or something that wrecks the whole meeting. You don't get what you want. So it was a tool, and just watching them go to that light within, it was just so. Out of these children, there will be lights. There will be ones that will get the whole 9 yards. They will climb out of their karmic situation, and then they will come back and help others. And it always happens. And to invest in the younger generation is really our greatest investment, especially the small ones that were up in this front row. When they get into their teenage years, they were much more receptive than Western kids. But it was like, you know, yeah, like that, kind of like. But they were still doing it. Everybody was doing it. It's so easy to teach children in South Africa. I can't even tell you. It's like a pleasure. Where sometimes when we teach and we've got all the little rich kids from Beverly Hills, it's like, really, you know, I'd rather be on my iPhone like this, you know. They don't, because they don't think they need to yet. Then they hit 40 and they get miserable. So these kids are getting it young. So thank you so much. And she'll be with us. What we're going to do is renew our self-concept. What does that mean? Well, if you have any doubts or feelings that you're not bountiful, meaning prosperous on all levels, whether it's health, whether it's actual Ren, where there's actual love, that you're not full, and that you're not happy, and that you're not beautiful, then everything else you're thinking about yourself is a lie. Because Creator created you to be bountiful, blissful, happy, and beautiful. And just speaking of Earth Child program, that's what happens with the yoga. They get a new self-concept of self. Old memories fall away from your parents, from when you were in your mother's womb. Anything that said contrary, that you are not happy, that you are not healthy, and that you are not whole. You are not bountiful, you're not beautiful, you're not blissful. All the rest is a lie. You were handed lies about you. I'm too tall, I'm too short, I'm too fat, I'm too thin, my nose is too long, my cheekbones aren't prominent enough, I don't like the color of my hair, for when my boobs are too high, too low, too flat, too big, too wide, whatever it is, my body, my this, my that, my intelligence, it all isn't true. Because Creator created you perfect. So the beauty of Kundalini Yoga, you really come into self-love. Because there's no competition. We don't have mirrors to look at ourselves. You're not trying to get ahead. You're not even trying to get to another level because there's no levels in Kundalini Yoga. It's just about your relationship to Creator. Not out there, inside yourself. And that's what brings us self-love. Is that when we're all accepting of who we are, and then we can say thank you. We can say thank you for every single thing that happened because it got you sitting here today. Maybe it was so hard, your life. Maybe many betrayed you or left you or broke your heart or disease. It doesn't matter. You're sitting here today in a conscious environment. And that's enough to say thank you. So in this next 65 minutes, we're going to go through a lot of things you can't remember because you were too little. You were in your mother's womb in the first 3 years of your life, but those things we live upon. There's a beautiful man named Dr. Bruce Lipton who wrote Spontaneous Evolution. He said 95% of how we live is from that which we can't even remember. It's from the subconscious mind. So I see somebody and they remind me of somebody, or they have a body type or an age or a color of hair, and I don't really see that person. I see all the people that I might have been associated with that remind me of that person. Or different things happen and you pull up all the memory banks of that same thing and you can make a conclusion. And so you're never here. You're always there. And that's that 95%. And 5%, we have those enlightened moments of being, wow, I'm here. When we clear the subconscious mind, we can be here more and more and more and more. And that's what enlightenment is. That's what Shunya is. That's what the states of people like Yogananda, like His Holiness the Dalai Lama, that's the state they stay in all the time. And that is the beginning of being a human being. We're so used to being this way, we look around and we see everybody else kind of being this way, we think it's normal. It's the status of the human being now. But as yogis and meditators, and those who want to help the world, we need to go up a notch so that we can carry others with us. Like how Nelson Mandela always said, don't be shy and act like you're nothing. It doesn't do anyone any good, it doesn't do you any good, and it gives nobody else that feeling that they can also love themselves. When I grew up in the 40s, we used to always, if we ever said we loved ourselves, you just didn't. Because then people said you were an egomaniac. If you had some really pretty dress on, or oh yeah, there's a hole there, you could never look in the mirror and say, I am so beautiful. Because you were called an egomaniac. And so we were almost conditioned that we always had to have something wrong with us. And maybe I came from the Judeo-Christian background of being born with original sin. That there's something wrong with you, always something wrong with you. You go to therapy, there's something wrong with you. Why? Why is there anything wrong with us? Why aren't we beautiful? Why aren't we happy? Who tells us we can't be? There's no law. I don't see you getting picked up by the side of the road or put in jail if you think that you're beautiful. Or you think that you're happy, you don't get a ticket. Or that you're healthy. We've been so conditioned. We're not that. But we are that. And the more I find you do Kundalini Yoga and meditation, you come into that knowingness and life takes on a whole nother look. And then people come to you and say, you look so light. Did you lose weight? Did you change your hairdo? You look, I don't know what it is. You just started growing a light around you. And then people want some of that too. What'd you do? Then you become a Kundalini Yoga teacher. You can then help a lot of people. So I'd like to thank Alana and Anton for inviting us to the Guru Ramdas. Yoga Center Guru Ramdas lived about 400 years ago. Not quite, but no, a little over 400 years ago in India. And he was the fourth teacher in this faith or lineage that we carry. And he taught us the power of prayer. He taught us the power of stillness. He taught us the power of knowing inside your relationship to God. And I feel so blessed, both Guru Shabbat and I, that we're here. So thank you all for coming, and coming especially for Earth Child. And that will make a donation to them of the proceeds that they will then turn over and use for something very good, I'm sure. So thank you. Let's rub our hands.